Good morning, good morning. Welcome to our Talks to Anthony. Today we're going to be having an insightful conversation. If you're new to the channel, we make mental health conversations and content that's going to be able to benefit your personal development in addition to your well-being, right? But in regards to today's conversation, we're going to be talking about effective time management and techniques for maximizing productivity and stress reduction, right? So overall, I find that it's important to have this discussion because we're all doing stuff, life is life and we're juggling tasks in our personal life and even work, right? But I think that in order for us to maximize productivity and reduce stress, we got to have a sense of balance. We got to have a sense of discernment as we're navigating through our life, right? So I want to be able to take in consideration which a study was able to illustrate, right? So studies show that effective time management leads to lower stress levels, better work-life balance, and higher job satisfaction. So by taking care of ourselves, having that balance, we're going to be able to have a better well-being and be able to perform much better, right? So let's just dive into our conversation and start off with some common pitfalls for poor time management. So those out there in the back of the back, pay attention, right? So some pitfalls for poor time management. Let's start off with procrastination, right? So you're putting things off until last minute. This is not good because you definitely get the anxiety and the overwhelming factors when you're doing things last minute. So try to get yourself an agenda book, write things down, be accountable, put it on the calendar, do whatever you got to do to make sure that you're not doing things last minute, right? So we don't be dealing with that procrastination. The next is going to be multitasking. So spreading yourself too thin and reducing your effectiveness, right? So focus on one thing at a time, right? Do the best that you could do and then move on to the next thing. Stop trying to get yourself too entangled into too many things. This definitely gives you that anxiety. Like I said, being all overwhelmed when you're all over the place, right? So one thing at a time and then move on to the next and try to prioritize what things are more important than doing things that are not really relevant, right? Next is going to be lack of prioritization. So not knowing what truly matters, leading to wasting time on less important tasks, right? So you gotta really identify what deadlines are, approaching, what is more important, and then move accordingly, right? Lastly, but not least, is that stress and that burnout. So working nonstop without breaks can lead to exhaustion and frustration. I admit to this too. A lot of us out here, we have goals. We have a lot of things we want to do, whether it be saving, whether it be leveling up, whatever it may be. Even working out in the gym, you got to have balance, right? You can't be doing things too excessively without having these breaks. You got to have a water break. It's almost like a car. You know what I mean? It's going to overheat if you don't have that coolant. You don't have breaks. You don't, stop and rest, right? So just make sure you're doing what you got to do out here. You can get things done, but like I said, when you have the balance, you're going to realize you're going to have energy that's going to keep pushing you on forward. So let's dive into some time management techniques to boost that productivity. So like I said, to enhance our energy, to get to where we need to be, these are going to be some insightful techniques I want to be able to discuss with you. So let's start off with the Pomodoro technique, right? So basically what this is you work in 25-minute intervals and then you follow up by 5-minute breaks, right? So and then also too, you can also increase it when you keep, when you find that you're being more productive when it comes to your work. So 25 minutes of work, you type the your phone or whatever recording thing that's gonna keep your time, or alarm clock, whatever, you know what I mean? And then once it goes off, you give yourself a break. And then within that 5 minutes, then you come back, get back to work. So by doing this, you're gonna give yourself for that focus where you're just really focused on your assignment, you're doing what you have to do, and then that timer goes off and you give yourself a break where you get to get up, use the restroom, take a walk, get some fresh air, do whatever you have to do to get yourself that clarity. Then you come back and you're more productive when it comes to work. And by doing this, it's going to help you stay focused. And also too, when it comes to research, using this technique, research shows that short focused work sessions increase productivity and reduce mental fatigue. So giving ourselves breaks is essential. The next technique is time blocking. So schedule your day into block times, each dedicated to specific time or activities. When it comes to research discusses when you're using block time for focused work helps eliminate distractions and improves task completion rates, right? So when we're putting things, like I said, that agenda book or even a calendar and we're getting that visualization, it's able to really indicate specific tasks, what deadlines are, and this gives us that visual. So when it comes to block timing, so make sure that you're writing things down, And this could be good for like meetings, work, personal activities, whatever it may be. But like I said, write them things down so you give yourself that visual. The next is going to be the Eisenhower matrix, right? So prioritize tasks based on the urgency and its importance. Divide the to-do list in 4 categories. Like I said, from most important to obviously not as important. So number 1 will be urgent and important. The next would be important but not urgent. Number 3 would be urgent but not important. And number 4 would be not urgent and not important. Like I said, you just top is going to be obviously important. This is the main priority. And then just going as we're going lower, it's not going to be as urgent and important, right? So making sure that you're looking at things that are in your schedule, activities, whatever it may be, and you're prioritizing these tasks within that to-do list to make sure that you're getting things prioritized done, right? So when it comes to research supporting this task, it helps focus on what truly matters, reducing that stress and preventing that burnout. Like I said, when we're giving ourselves this organization, we're taking things serious, we're being intentional, and we're writing things down, we're going to be able to reduce that stress because we ain't even going to be overwhelmed because we already know what we need to do and we're moving diligently, right? The next technique is going to be the 2-minute rule, right? So if a task will take less than 2 minutes to complete, do it immediately. Just get to it. Don't procrastinate, like we mentioned earlier, just get to it, right? So research, insight, taking action on small tasks right away prevents them from pulling up or overwhelming you, right? So by doing things immediately, just getting to it, we're not gonna sit here and hop on the game and do all the little silly stuff that's gonna deter us away from our obligations. This is really gonna help us get things done, and we're gonna feel relieved because it's already done, right? So looking at that and taking consideration could be beneficial for you. The next technique is going to be the ABCDE method, right? So label the tasks by importance, like we mentioned earlier with the other, the Eisenhower matrix when it comes to the urgency and, not urgent going down from that 1 to 4. This is almost a similar technique, right? But we're using, instead of numbers, using letters, right? So A is must do, B is should do, C is nice to do, D is delegate, and E is eliminate, right? So we're just kind of prioritizing and categorizing which method you need to focus on and which ones you should be prioritizing, right? So when it comes to research in regards to the ABCDE method, this method ensures that you're focusing on the right tasks at the right time, which leads to a clearer and more manageable schedule. So we want things to be specific and manageable and achievable, right? And by doing this, looking at this, you'll be able to illustrate what's important to you, and then you kind of just you do your to-do list and you kind of navigate through your tasks, right? The next segment I want to be able to include into our discussion is managing distractions and staying focused. This is crucial. So, people that are, on their phones, I want you to silence them. Creating distraction-free workspaces or, these zones are going to be able to help you stay focused and get whatever task that you need to get done, right? So one of the biggest challenges in time management is staying focused, and distractions are everywhere. Even at the library, you always have something moving around, someone talking or this or that, or a book falling. You never know, right? So just making sure that you're finding an environment that is safe, conducive for you to focus on whatever task that you have to do, and managing distractions is going to be essential, right? So a tip I want to be able to include is minimizing digital distractions. So turning off, like I mentioned, any phones, any apps, blocking any websites that could potentially be distracting you from staying on tasks, right? The next tip is going to be create a dedicated workspace, right? So having a clean, distraction-free area signals to your brain it's time to work, it's time to get things situated, and there's no distractions, right? So when it comes to research shows that eliminating distractions boosts focus and performance, leading to faster task completion. So the more that the area is clean, the more that your body and you're giving that energy of focus, you're going to get things done effectively, and you're going to get to that completion, right? So let's talk about some time management for long-term success, right? We talked about some strategies and stuff like that, but let's talk about some long-term success, right? So time management isn't just about daily tasks, it's about long-term success, right? Because we're trying to do these little goals, little tasks, but it leads up to something bigger. We're painting the big picture. I want you to take that in consideration, right? So a tip that we should take in consideration is set SMART goals, right? So make goals that are specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound. This helps you not to break down your dreams, but break them down into manageable tasks, right? So when things are too overwhelming because it's just too much to do, it could look really intimidating, right? But when we're breaking things down little by step, it looks more achievable. We're able to conquer it, and then we're able to celebrate, and we're able to move on to the next, right? So making sure that we're breaking them down into goals, right? Smart goals at that. But number 2 is going to be plan your week ahead, right? Proper preparation, something gives you best performance. If you know the lines, put it in the comment area, something like that. But plan your week ahead, right? So set aside time each week to plan what's coming ahead, right? This is the way that you're able to start your week with clarity and purpose. You know what's to come. Like I mentioned earlier with that agenda book, when you're writing things down or even on a calendar, you're able to see things that is to come and etc., right? So I want you guys to, like I said, take in consideration really writing things down, because when you're giving yourself that organization, you're moving with intentional, it's going to marinate in your mind, and at the same time too, you have accountability because it was on that paper, then you scrambling around. Let's dive into the power of rest and recharging. It's essential to make sure that we're meditating, we're walking, we're doing enjoyable hobbies, but also too, we're taking consideration our self-care and we're giving ourselves proper sleep. We need that, right? So here's going to be some things that effective time management will be able to provide for us when it comes to giving us that recharge, right? So tip number 1 will schedule breaks. It's your obligation. No one knows you better than yourself. No one knows when you need to use the bathroom. Only you know, right? So schedule the breaks. Schedule the time when you need to really give yourself that recharge, right? Just like you plan your work time, make sure you schedule rest time for breaks throughout your day to prevent that burnout. One strategy that I do when it comes to my day, when it takes to taking breaks or just kind of get away to get myself that reset or recharge, I'll go to the bathroom. You know what I mean? Wash my hands, you know what I mean? Whether it be cold water, just to kind of get my body, like, senses, we here, you know what I mean? Do some deep breathing. Sometimes even can go outside if I can. Taking a little walk, just finding little areas in the day to give yourself that reset is really good. And looking at things, as was recommended to me by a mentor, Liliana, shout out, is looking at things in nature that is different and unique, right? So looking at just unusual stuff or weird stuff, whatever it may be, a different leaf, just really try to have your mind tune into different things that are different or unique, can really kind of give your mind that clarity it may need, right? The next tip I want to talk to you guys about is number 2, is prioritize your sleep and your self-care. A well-rested mind is productive, so we need to take that into consideration. So ensure that you're getting enough sleep and engaging in activities that reduce stress, right? So when it comes to research shows that regular breaks and adequate sleep enhance focus and creativity, boosting overall productivity. Without sleep, you're gonna be you're gonna be irritable, you're gonna be fatigued, you're gonna be a little frustrated, you're antsy, you're gonna be falling asleep, you're up, you're falling asleep, you're up, you know what I mean? But without that proper sleep, you're not gonna be able to perform right. So I want you guys to take that into consideration. Adequate sleep is important. The next section I want you guys to talk about before we wrap up this essential video is how to track your time and adjust, right? When people are using apps and people are using different things to keep them accountable, whatever it may be, these are going to be some things to kind of keep your awareness at a high, right? So to truly master your time management, it's important to track how you're spending your time, because time flies, as you may know. And as you may know too, when it comes to social media scrolling off topic, you could be on your phone for like 15 minutes before you know it, 2 hours pass by. So you may not be aware, but tracking your time and keeping yourself accountable and that awareness up is essential. So a tool I want to provide you is use time tracking tools. So there's apps like Toggle, Rescue Time, and even simple journal like journaling can help you, assessing your time and where your time is even going, right? Another tool is going to be reflect and adjust, right? So it's your responsibility to, at the end of the day, or at the end of the week perhaps, is to really spend 10 minutes at least to reflect on what worked and what didn't work, right? And adjust your strategies for the next week to be according, right? So really just spend the time to really think about what you're doing. Think about where you're going. Think about all the stuff that you did this week or did within the day. Are you happy with it, right? And what are some ways you can really find improvement? So it's your responsibility to evaluate your time. This is your life. Yeah, like I said earlier, no one knows you better than anybody else. No one knows where you want to go. And it is your responsibility to navigate yourself there, right? I'm here to support you. This is Thriving Talks. Thank you for thriving me. Thank you for talking with me. We're going to be able to drop more intentional content. Please subscribe and take it easy. See you on the next one.